Hello everybody and welcome back, and in this week's video we're going to start off with a recap of last week's video. So as we saw in previous week's videos, the angels were provided the grace from God to deliver and uplift the humankind and provide them the grace before the first flood period, but they did not use this opportunity to uplift the humans, but rather they lost the privilege and to deliver an opportunity to deliver the will of God, and rather they go against God and add sinful words and doctrines, or you could say false doctrines, to the humankind to an extreme level, which let God's love for the completely be destroyed and caused God to unleash the first flood. So the purpose and process completely ruined and was completely entered in destruction due to the angels' actions. These angels are now called the fallen angels for their actions. Yes, they got destroyed, and they are not destroyed, of course, because they fell from the blessing, and they have lost the grace that they were given to attain to provide the privilege. They lost the grace to go back to their original estate and be kept under heaven, and their actions and powers are restricted and kept for judgment, of course, for their actions. But they are not killed at this point of time. Rather, they are kept, as mentioned in one of the verses we read, in shackles in the endless void of darkness, we know. But the point of our study in the Jude book were recorded about a warning for us alongside Israelites and Sodom and Gomorrah city. So we can read the Jude book once again to really understand this, from 7th verse, to really understand this. So let's get that right now. Jude 5th to 7th verse. So we can read Jude 5th and 7th verse. 5th to 7th verse, I will therefore put you in a remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under the darkness, unto the judgment of the great day. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about in like manner, giving themselves over to the fornication, and going after strange flesh, after set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. So we can see from these verses, initially we saw how the Israelites had lost their privilege from a blessing to enter the promised land due to their disobedience they showed towards God 10 times through their actions. And the same thing, the actions of the angels were kept to this point as a serious learning and warning for us to not to do, and strictly supposed to not to do as it's supposed to do, as it is against God's will. So very clearly mentioned about their grace and how they fell, and the consequence is all recorded, as we can see in the 6th verse, where it said they were put in everlasting chains and shackles for the judgment to come upon them. But of course they had lost their privilege, they had lost the position they kept in heaven and the powers they had as the supernatural angels. So this is our benefit for us to pay attention toward his plan and goal, and deliver the richness of Christ in our day-to-day life, and to finally fulfill Christ's, and show the fullness of in Christ in our actions, and how we obey and follow God's instruction. And then only we can enter the God's kingdom and be the God's children we wish and God wishes us to be. Otherwise we will end up in the same position as the angels and the Israelites. For now, because of this, their disobedience and actions of wrongdoing against God, they fell into sin. So now we're going to read the verse towards this, which is Romans 5th chapter 14th verse. So we can get that right now. So we're going to read Romans 5th chapter 14th verse. 15th chapter, 4th verse. So we're going to read that right now. So let us read. So in Romans 15th chapter 4th verse, it says, for whatsoever things were written at aforetime were written for our learning, that we let me reread that, sorry about that. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So I hope we understand about what this verse is trying to really convey, because we are in the point of we have to show these characteristics, for even God had punished those of great beings, of people of part of heaven, angels. How easily God could get rid of us if our actions are wrong. So that is why we have to be very careful as these God's children and deliver in the fullness of Christ our day-to-day activities towards Christ, or we will end up in the same position as the angels and the Israelites. Just like that, the chosen one of Israel were disowned just like that, and completely from the privilege, and so was the angels. So we must be in this wary mindset of always having to follow God, otherwise we will be punished in the same way, for everyone wants to be glorified in the God's kingdom. So that is all for today. See you next time. Bye.